Among Europe's top 5 leagues, only Serie A offers a title race that comes close to matching the thrill of La Liga. Yet, even that pales in comparison to the dramatic twists and turns of the Spanish top division, where Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid have all claimed the top spot at various points this season. So, what's happening in La Liga? Allow me to explain by giving you an overview of how this season's title race has evolved so far. At the outset of the La Liga season, defending champions Real Madrid were expected to be unstoppable. After all, how could they not be after adding Kylian Mbappe to their La Liga and Champions League winning side? However, the reality proved to be far from smooth for Los Blancos. Injuries left them looking shaky in defense, while Mbappe was missing the game-changing impact we all expected from one of the world's best players. His mere presence as a central striker in the lineup created an imbalance in Carlo Ancelotti's side, which led to a reduced effectiveness among several key players. In particular, to fill the void left by Toni Kroos's retirement and accommodate his star-studded front line, Ancelotti pushed Jude Bellingham into a deeper role, demanding more defensive work and a playmaking spark from a player not quite suited to that role. At times, Ancelotti even experimented with a 4-2-2 formation, relegating Bellingham further away from the action. Instead, it was Barcelona, under a new head coach and tactical philosophy, who looked poised to run away with the league. Barca's high defensive line and offside trap quickly became hallmarks of Flick's tactics at the club, proving highly effective as their opponents were caught offside 77 times in just 11 games. This led to an explosive start of 11 wins out of their first 12 matches, including that triumphant 4-0 El Clasico victory where they successfully forced Real Madrid into 12 offsides, 8 of which were committed by Mbappe alone. In attack, Flick's side showcased a swagger unmatched across Europe, netting 40 goals in those 12 games for an impressive average of 3.3 goals per match. Meanwhile, after 5 draws and 1 defeat in their opening 11 games, an unconvincing Atleti found themselves 4th in La Liga and already a staggering 10 points behind a rampant Barcelona. Despite investing nearly 200 million euros on new signings during a summer rebuild to mount a serious title challenge, it seemed yet another disappointing season was unfolding for Diego Simeone's side. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, subscribe so that you don't miss out on our future videos. When they're at their best, Flick's Barcelona can be exceptional. However, they have also shown a worrying tendency to lose to La Liga's lesser sides, particularly those that employ a low compact block. This vulnerability became evident on matchday 13 when Real Sociedad discovered a countermeasure to their offside trap. Get one of your midfielders to break free from his marker and run in behind Barca's defense. In doing so, he would pull their back line out of position before finding a teammate with a simple pass, who could finish from a favorable goal-scoring position created by the resulting chaos, leading them to accumulate only 6 points from a possible 24 between November and December, starting with that 1-0 loss to Sociedad. In a flash, they slipped from league leaders to 3rd in the table during what would be their worst ever run in La Liga since Ronald Koeman's sacking in 2021. In contrast, Atletico Madrid had completely transformed the narrative of the title race in just 2 months, winning a club record 14 games in all competitions, including 8 in La Liga, and overtaking Barca for the top spot. While Atleti certainly benefited from Barca's dramatic drop in form, their own resurgence could not be overlooked, highlighted by their statement 2-1 victory on matchday 18 over none other than Barcelona themselves. Indeed, Atletico began to play with more of their famed grit and determination, which was helped by their squad depth that allowed them to maintain intensity throughout their matches. Simeone discovered a winning formula in his 4-4-2 system and stuck to it, with 9 or 10 players essentially locked into his best 11. That clarity in team selection, with the likes of Xavi Galán, Clement Longley, and Giuliano Simeone surprisingly breaking into the starting lineup, created an impression of greater squad depth compared to their two rivals. This was especially true in attack, where Angel Correa and Alexander Soloth lightened the goal-scoring burden on Julian Alvarez and Antoine Griezmann with some important goals. As a result, Atletico emerged as La Liga's winter champions, the unofficial and ultimately insignificant title given to the league leaders at a season's halfway point. However, few would have bet against them winning it all, especially considering their average of 2.31 points per game up to that point, enough to be crowned champions in 4 of the last 5 seasons. Real Madrid, meanwhile, also made significant strides, closing the gap to just 1 point behind Atletico after securing 6 wins from 8 matches, which allowed them to overtake Barcelona as well. Following the El Clasico debacle, Ancelotti had learned his lesson and quickly sought a tactical solution. He moved away from the initial 4-3-3 and experimental 4-4-2 formations, opting instead for a 4-2-3-1 setup that featured Mbappe either as a central striker or on the right wing. Whenever Mbappe drifted to the right in this setup, Bellingham would push into a more central role, while on the occasions he drifted to the left, Vinicius would cover the middle. Mbappe's strong run of form since the start of December signaled that improvements were unfolding just at the right time for Ancelotti's side, a momentum that enabled them to overtake their neighbors at the top of the table between January and early February. To watch our video on how Real Madrid turned their season around, click the first link in the description or the card in the top right corner. Barcelona were inconsistent and occasionally unlucky earlier in the season, making the winter break a timely reprieve for them. But despite nearly having their La Liga title ambitions derailed by a rough patch from November to December, they have since surged back to the top of the league, correcting flaws in their high line and benefiting from players returning from injury. Barca are on the back of 7 straight victories in La Liga with a cumulative record of 23 goals scored and 4 conceded. Their last 2 games in particular epitomized their prowess. While aided by a sending off in the 4-0 thrashing of Real Sociedad, the red card was a byproduct of some wonderful midfield interplay. The attempted shot tally was even more astonishing: Barcelona 30, Sociedad 0. They then pulled off another remarkable remontada against title rivals Atletico, winning 4-2 after trailing 2-0 by the 71st minute and swinging the title race firmly back in their favor, at least against Simeone's side. Barca's front 3 of Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski, and Rafinha have thrived under Hansi Flick. Although Lewandowski leads the race for La Liga's Golden Boot, he and Rafinha have actually underperformed their expected goals, but that has been simply due to the sheer volume of goal-scoring chances they create as a unit. To watch our breakdown of Barca's new game plan under Hansi Flick, click the first link in the description or the card in the top right corner. Atleti offers quite the contrast to Barca, as while the Blaugrana averages 67% possession in league matches, Simeone's side manages just above 50%. It seems the Argentine manager, once a fiery defensive midfielder, has continued to craft teams in his own image. And it is still working. Despite conceding 4 goals in their latest thrashing by Barca, they still boast the league's best defense with only 22 goals conceded in 28 matches. Their recent 1-0 win against 4th place Athletic Bilbao exemplified the grit that characterizes Simeone's side, with the 3 points won contributing to a total of 35 points earned by 1 goal or 0 goal margin out of their 56 points. For most clubs, such a run would seem unsustainable, but for Atleti, it's been the story of their past title triumphs. And given that they're the only contenders no longer competing in Europe, there is a strong case for a final push this season. Real Madrid, on the other hand, has been sputtering, losing the odd game, complaining about referees, and creating distractions for themselves. Their lack of cohesion, coupled with injuries, came to the fore in February when they won just once in 4 games before losing again to Real Betis in early March. Did somebody say Anthony effect? As a result, the title race has been slowly shifting away from the defending champions and towards the team that, overall, has been La Liga's best since the start of the season. However, with a 10-match sprint to the finish line set to begin after the international break, the 3 sides will once again engage in a fierce battle for supremacy in Spain. And as they head into this decisive stretch, they all know it's never too late to claim the title until it's mathematically impossible. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more football news, stories, and insights. Also, don't forget to hit notifications so you never miss a beat. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.